Okay, good morning. It's now 9 o'clock, and the monthly meeting of Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors will come to order. This morning's meeting is open to all members of the community club and is being recorded for viewing on the community club website. We are also live streaming this morning's meeting for member viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those who are serving in uniform and defending freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pat, please call the roll of the board members.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Forrell?
Here.
Mrs. Galloway? Here. Mr. Horn?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Storr?
Here.
Mr. Wedgeworth?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, there are 7 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Pat. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for the September 22nd board meeting. So may I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the September 22nd board minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The minutes of the September 22nd Board of Directors meeting are approved. This morning we have a couple of distinguished guests in the audience. First of all, we have Cumberland County Mayor Alan Foster is here. Our 9th District Commissioner Colleen Mall is here. And our 6th District Commissioner Joe Sherrill is here. Mr. Mayor, did you want to make a few comments?
Thank you, Ken and the board. I appreciate the opportunity. I kind of rolled right in. It seems like my office is a popular meeting place about 8:30 on Fairfield Glade board meeting day, so I apologize for being just a little bit late. A couple of little small things that I just wanted to mention. Flat Rock Motorsports, wow, we had a great groundbreaking yesterday out in Westville. Mary Jo and some others were out there. That is going to be a great $100 million+ addition to our county, and something that several of us will be able to enjoy. So that is, people ask me, is it real? Oh, it's real. Would you say if you were there? It's real. It's very, very real. Not something government related, but I wanted to make sure you knew about the Field of Honor that the Lake Tansy Exchange Club is working on. It's hundreds of American flags on display in rows for 24-hour viewing from November 6th through the 12th. The flags will actually represent someone that is currently or previously served, and it's actually the first Field of Honor display in our community, so it's something excited about having. There's an opening ceremony at 2 o'clock on November 6th, and that's over on Garrison Park. If you know where Garrison Park is, you can kind of see CCHS High School on the corner there across from it. Early voting, don't forget early voting. We're right in the middle of early voting right now. It's now through the 3rd of November. It's important that everybody vote, no matter who you're voting for. Get out and vote. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then Saturday, 8 to 12. Last thing you may have heard, we've had some issues with the old courthouse where my office is. We're working through those repairs. Some of the roof trusses were rotting and coming away from they're bolted to the external walls back in 1905, but we learned that the people that built that took it to heart, and they, on the 3rd floor, poured concrete up there in 1905, and that is actually going to save the taxpayers quite a bit of money, we think. So pretty appreciative of them that they did that, and that's all I have other than saying it's great to see you back, Pat. Good to see you here today. All right. Just to harass me? If I get to see you, it's worth it. It's worth it. But that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I just want to thank you for coming to our meeting.
Oh, I enjoy it. I'm glad. I thank you for inviting me. The board reaches out. Pat does every month and invites me. I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
I also thank you for coming, but something that's been a hot topic, I don't expect you to have the answer today, but maybe next month. Can you tell us what the percentage of the police and fire budget, county budget, the percentage that comes back to us?
Well, the county budget is not budgeted out based on where you live. It's based out, the county budget is based on the entire county as a whole. So I don't think you'll ever really get an answer for that. It's just not, you just don't budget it by district. That's not the way it works. It's a whole county. I don't,
Does the county contribute any funds to the police, the Fairfield Glade Police Department, and the Fairfield Glade Volunteer Fire Department?
no to the police department, yes to the fire, to the police department. The police department, to my understanding out here, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a nonprofit. It's set up as a nonprofit, which is not uncommon. That's very common in Tennessee. So the county, actually, the standard has been to try to give them what other fire departments around the county get. Last couple, 3 years, you've actually gotten quite a bit more than what the other ones have gotten. But yes, we do contribute to the volunteer fire department out here. Anybody else?
Can you give a status on 27?
Which side, south or north? 127 North. Well, have you noticed the convenience center there, the little oasis we have out by North School? We did have a cease and desist letter to get off by December 12th, and I contacted them and reminded them that we're still there because of their mistakes. And long story short, they've agreed that we can keep that until they said late spring, that we can stay there. They've found a way to do that because our convenience center is going to be moved about a mile closer into town. And it happens to be between the old road and the new road and then our convenience center. So they found a way that we would be crossing that all the time and all that. So they're going to be doing that. So, but they're moving steadily, except in that one little spot. They seem to have found a solution that doesn't force us to close that. But 127 South, they're repaving some pavement that just something wasn't right on it, and then they're going to continue on into the homesteads with it's actually a separate project, though.
That's out of your hands with that conveyance.
Yes, 127 North and South are both, just like Peavine Road, they're state roads. They try to keep me informed, but I don't really get a decision in any of it, but they do try to keep me up on what's going on. Anybody else? All right, well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleen, you had a comment or two you wanted to make?
I have to bring this down a little bit, just a little. I'm Colleen Mall. I'm your 9th District, one of your 9th District Commissioners. And related to what the mayor had talked about, the renovation of the front of the courthouse, the county clerk has been temporarily relocated to 127 South. And it was presented to the Building and Grounds Committee this week that the county clerk seems to have some concerns about returning back to the courthouse because he has some needs. And what I would like all of you to do, he would like to stay at the old Progressive Bank on 127 for accessibility and parking. So I would like input from Fairfield Glade residents about your thoughts about relocating the county clerk away from the courthouse that they're currently in. And that would mean that the other services that are at the courthouse and across the street, the property assessor and the trustee, that would mean that the county clerk would be separated from the operations of the courthouse. When the renovation is done in the courthouse, then the parking will be addressed and the handicap, better accessibility, it is accessible today, will be addressed also. So if you haven't been out to the Progressive Bank, it would also mean that the county would have to then find a place for the archives, because the old Progressive Bank building was budgeted in the last budget year to move from where it is today by the community church in the church downtown. So that was earmarked. The Progressive Bank was earmarked for the archives. So it would mean that we would then have to move the county clerk to the Progressive Bank now, because it's a temporary location, and we would have to find another location for the archives folks. And it is a state requirement that we have preservation of history, and particularly preservation of records. So there is no option about the archives. It has to have a location, either it be back in the church with major renovations to that, or stay where it is. So, long story short, I would like your opinion about the county clerk being, and the address of where he is temporarily today, or the office is 1760 127 Highway South, which is Main Street, basically. So please let me know. All of your commissioners, 4th, 6th, and 9th District, our emails are on the county website. I have cards. Joe's here. But please, whoever, doesn't matter what district you're in, just let us know your thoughts, because we are trying to get information. Thanks.
Thank you, Colleen. Joe, did you have any comments that you wanted to make? All right, thank you. Okay. I'd like to share the following comments now as the remarks from the President's report. In less than just 2 weeks, each of us will have the opportunity to exercise one of our most sacred rights as American citizens. Each of us can make our votes heard by casting our ballots as we choose our state and national leaders. Every election comes with consequences, so whether you vote by absentee ballot or take advantage of early voting or participate in person on Election Day, please take your responsibility seriously and exercise your right to vote. This year, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, with early voting available through Thursday, November 3rd. Tennessee voters will cast ballots for their representative in the House of Representatives, in addition to Tennessee state officials, including the governor, state senators, and state representatives. And there are also 4 amendments to the Tennessee Constitution on this year's ballot. Early voting is conducted at the Cumberland County Election Commission office, and then Election Day voting is conducted at your local precinct location. On Sunday, November 6th, we will fall back an hour as we change from daylight savings time to Central Standard Time. And we are again including an informative tip sheet to provide our members with important time change reminders. We are again facing the annual flu season, which is anticipated to be more serious than in previous years. So please take the time to consider receiving this year's flu vaccination to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your friends. To honor the service and sacrifice of our veterans, we will once again be providing Fairfield Glade dining gift cards to veterans at the center beginning on November 11th, and those will be good for use at Stonehenge Grill at any time. Earlier this year, the Board of Directors completed a review of the current Fairfield Glade strategic plan and gave serious consideration to evaluating what the next strategic planning steps should be for our community. The board concluded that it was appropriate to engage an independent professional consulting firm familiar with strategic planning in the club industry to conduct a comprehensive strategic planning engagement. A request for proposal was prepared and distributed to several consulting firms familiar with strategic planning in the club industry. The field of respondents was narrowed to 2 firms, and Private Club Associates has been chosen to conduct the strategic planning engagement for the community club. Private Club Associates is familiar with our community, having completed previous engagements here in Fairfield Glade. This comprehensive strategic planning engagement will deliver a strategic plan document designed to grow and change and evolve with time. The plan will be consistent with the community club's mission statement, vision statement, core values, and the social fabric of Fairfield Glade. Included in the process will be an analysis of emerging trends among communities like ours and an examination of our facility use data with forecasting of future needs. There will be interviews with random community members, leaders, and stakeholders with an impact on community development. You can expect to be surveyed regarding the use of our various amenities, and you may be asked to participate in focus groups. A membership communication plan is also a component of this planning process. Members who would like to share comments regarding the strategic planning initiative can reach out to the strategic planning team by sending email messages to strategicplanning@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the strategic planning team will also be available on the community club website. As part of this strategic planning engagement, we will form a reconstituted strategic planning committee. This committee will play an important role throughout the process to develop the strategic plan document, and once the strategic plan document is completed, presented to our membership and approved by the board, the committee will be charged with annually recommending updates based on new trends, new data, and new needs and conditions as they are identified. The committee will develop and update a work plan to be reviewed annually by the board. An announcement regarding recruitment process for the Strategic Planning Committee will be distributed shortly. We are focused on ensuring that we embrace a strategy and a process that yields a strategic transformation that is relevant to Fairfield Glade's core values and provides a specific pathway forward for Fairfield Glade's future growth and continued prosperity. The strategic planning engagement to be conducted by private club associates is expected to take approximately 13 months and will cost $118,000. The strategic planning engagement proposal will be considered this morning by the Board of Directors. Here are the latest updates on our major capital projects. We've completed the initial clearing of the area for the next phase of the Robin Hood Park expansion project for a pavilion with restrooms, bocce ball courts, and hard surface paths. We have decided to defer the timing of our next steps in the process as we develop the budget for 2023. We have installed a new metal roof recently on the St. George Marina building, and the remainder of this project will be delayed until the fall of 2023. The Druid Hills planning team continues to work on the initial planning process to determine what the next Druid Hills clubhouse facility should provide for our growing community. Soil samples were taken for the driving range and the proposed site for the new clubhouse building. Most of the borings went down approximately 6 feet before hitting rock, and the next step in the process is to determine what type of rock is present so we will be better able to have an idea of the effect on construction for the clubhouse. The borings showed that there should be no issue with lowering the tee area for the driving range to make it level. There's been a request for proposal sent to engage a golf architect. The scope of that RFP is to hire a golf architect that will take the requirements that were developed by the golf committee and approved by the steering committee and the board and design the layout for the driving range and the larger putting green, produce construction plans for those two areas, and then develop a request for proposal to hire a company to modify the existing driving range and construct the larger putting green. The golf committee is planning to present the current golf requirements for Druid Hills at the initial business case for the Performance Center at a town hall that is scheduled for December 2nd. The Food and Beverage Committee has completed 4 focus group meetings. They are compiling the information gathered and will be making a presentation at the same town hall as the Golf Committee scheduled for December 2nd. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the Druid Hills project can reach out to the Druid Hills planning team by sending an email message to druidhillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. And information concerning the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team is also available on the Community Club website. And that is our October update from across the board. There will be, the next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report. Bruce?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. I'll refer you to the handout that you have in front of you and remind you that the numbers in parentheses on my script refer to the number in parentheses on the attached sheets. Through September, we've got a really strong financial outcome for Fairfield Glade. On the balance sheet in sewer, we have a little over $4.5 million of total cash compared to $3.7 million at the end of last year since September, which is a positive variation of $857,000. For the Property Owners Association and amenities, we have a little over $2.6 million of capital cash, $6.6 million of operating cash, for a total of $9.2 million of total POA and amenities cash, compared to $7.8 million at the end of last year, September 21, which is a positive variation of about $1.4 million. On cash flow, sewer has a positive year-end forecast to budget of a little over $44,000 through September. Revenues forecasted to be positive $164,000, which is driven mostly by tap fees from new home starts, while our expenses tend to be negative about $120,000 due to significant increases in grinder pump costs and other material cost increases. In POA, we're positive year-to-date with a year-end positive forecast variation to budget of $670,000. Open positions, which we didn't feel were account for the majority of the savings, plus we have more billable lots than we budgeted, and we have favorable results from recovering bad debt. So on the expense side, though, we continue to see higher than expected insurance and energy costs, which are the major expenses in POA. On amenities, the forecast is unfavorable to budget by $52,000. Golf rounds continue to be positive by over 7,800 rounds more than budget. Expense increases, though, from last month's year-end forecast include golf chemicals forecast of now $53,000 over budget, and golf PTO accrual of $25,000 over budget, along with an increased utility cost at the center of $15,000 over budget. But overall, the year-end forecast variance after 9 months of operations is still favorable for POA and amenities by $619,000. So our financial performance through September remains positive, even with the significant impact of inflation that we are all experiencing. I want to remind you that we're still working on the 2023 budget. That proposed budget will be presented at the center on November 14th at 3 p.m. We'll be live streaming the presentation. It will be recorded and placed on the website, but I really invite all of you to come and attend that presentation so that we can clear up any issues as I present it, because what will happen is I'll present it on the 14th of November. We'll have a period between then and our December board meeting, which is on the 16th, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
And during that period of time, we will receive input on anything on the budget. Then we'll make adjustments, and then the board will vote to approve that budget as modified on December 16th. So your input is desired. We typically don't get a lot of input, which kind of surprises me, so I encourage you to come to the meeting and or watch it online and submit any questions you have. Any questions today?
November 23rd, you said?
November 14th at 3 p.m. right here in the center. Nico.
What happened to our page numbers on this info?
I'm sorry?
A couple months ago, you agreed to put page numbers on.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that. I apologize. I apologize. The other thing I'll say to you, I meant to mention, this is the quarterly report, so I add some charts to this that I don't typically have. Like there's an equity chart, which shows how our equity is increasing. There's a property, plant, and equipment chart, bar chart, that shows where we are on that. And my favorite chart's the last one, which is debt, which we have none. Tom?
Bruce, if my numbers are correct, since you increased dues the last time, you have a surplus now of about $5.6 million since that time. Is that roughly correct?
Well, if you look at the cash flow, or the balance sheet, that's this sheet, okay? And you look down, and by the way, we increased assessments, being technical about it. There's a line on there that's called operating reserve, which is 2/3 of the way down, and you go across. We have an operating reserve in POA and amenities of $5.5 million. If that's what you're referring to, Tom?
Yeah, referring to that, plus where we project POA and amenities combined.
For this year?
Yeah.
If you go to the next page, which is the cash flow page, it looks like this. it indicates that we are going to be forecasted compared to budget of $618,000 positive.
So it's really 6.1 thereabouts.
If that's where we end up, correct.
Okay. Over since we increased this. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Gary.
I have a question. Well, this, in fact, this statement that you're just talking about is a cash flow from operations. I mean, this really, to me, as an accountant, is just totally inadequate.
Okay.
Because, number one, you're comparing year-to-date against a full-year budget and a full-year forecast.
We have, that's right. We're
Okay.
comparing the forecast, we're comparing the budget to our forecasted year-end numbers.
Exactly. So basically, what you're comparing is apples to oranges, because you've got actuals for the year-to-date, but you've got a full-year budget and a full-year forecast.
Okay?
So, you know, it's hard to even look at this and say, okay, you know, what's happening on a year-to-date basis?
Okay?
And number two, you're not giving us information, you know, everybody, you've talked for years, and everybody's talked for years, Bob Weber's talked for years, you've talked for years about how cash flow is so important, but you're not showing us the full cash flow situation, because you're not including cash flow for recurring capital projects, other things that are non-operational expenses. And so my question is, why aren't you giving us a net cash flow, a consolidated cash flow statement?
For operating and capital?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you used to do this.
No, we didn't.
Oh, yeah, you did. Go back and look at your 2020 financial statements.
Well, the financial statements in this, but this monthly report, we've never done that.
Go back and look at the 2020s.
Okay, I'll do that.
They're there.
I will do that. So let me make sure I understand. Are you asking that we add a column of year-to-date actual, year-to-date budget?
No, what I'm asking for is a consolidated cash flow statement.
Okay. I'll take a look at it,
Same
Gary.
statement that you were issuing.
I'll take a look at it. I will. I'll get back to you. Okay? Anything else? Tom?
Just real quick, since we have people that don't normally attend, can you talk about with that November 14th meeting, why your feeling is that we shouldn't get the budget presentation prior to the meeting to allow us to study it and have
Okay.
questions?
The last time you asked that question, if I was going to send it out, what was my response?
I was the only one that wanted it.
No, that wasn't my response. My response was, I'll take it under consideration. And as soon as I get a budget put together and finalized and approved, the proposed budget by these folks, I will decide whether we're going to do that ahead of time or not, okay? I haven't made that decision yet. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. This morning, Bob Weber is ill and obviously is not here today. So if you have questions that you want to address to Bob, I would encourage you to reach out to him via email. One of the topics that we did discuss yesterday was there was a question about the Fairfield Glade signage, that is the signage project that is currently underway, and Sam gave us an update. The contractor that has been selected to do the new welcome sign that will be at the square has already poured their foundations and is currently ready to begin construction of that sign. And they have all of the materials and they have their own labor, so we do not expect any delays with the construction of that new sign that will be right there at the four-way. And then on the wooden stand next to it is the old sign that was at the four-way, and that will move down to a new welcome sign that will be located just past the Edward Jones building as you approach St. George Drive. And so we would expect that both of those projects will probably be completed here certainly over the winter and may well be done as we move into the beginning of 2023. So that was the update that we had there. Barb, the resort report.
Good morning. Wyndham timeshares month to date is 1,050, and year to date we've had 46,950 Wyndham resort visitors. As far as amenities, like revenues, the center 14,808, which is 4%. Racket sports 11,445, which is 5%. Dartmoor Marina, 133,516, which is 51%. St. George Marina, 49,768, which is 25%. Golf, 584,446, which is 9%. Food, 357,222, which is 27%. And year-to-date, over a million, 1,151,203, which is 13% average. So far this year, we're $50,000 ahead of last year. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. The architectural control report, Sam.
Sorry, Carlene. The architectural control report for October is as follows. Miscellaneous approvals through the end of September 2022. That's approvals to exterior changes of properties is 1,495. Through the same time last year is 1,511. New homes approved to the community through the end of September of this year is 98. Last year was 93. New homes completed through the end of September this year is 94, and through the same time last year is 62. Is there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sam. This morning we have no unfinished business on the agenda, and under new business we have the Police Department Charter for CLIA, and Chief Self is going to come forward and talk about that, and then we have 3 purchase requisitions to do. Chief Self.
Is that on? Thanks, Sam. Good morning. As Ken was stating, I'm here asking for the approval from the board to approve a resolution that will establish our police department formally as a department within this organization. This resolution will not only stand as the foundation and a birth certificate of our department, but it'll also allow us to comply with accreditation standards with CLIA and TALIA.
Okay, and we have that resolution. So is there a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the resolution passes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 3 purchase requisitions. The first one is for the sewer extension in the amount of $45,000. And Bruce, you were going to speak to that.
Good morning. The first PR is for construction services with labor and material, in-house labor and material, for sewer extensions on Beechwood Drive of 955 feet, Golden Court of 500 feet, Easton Circle 745 feet, and Easton Court 250 feet. Engineering, design, and permitting is complete, and we have all the material and staff in-house to complete the job. It's well within the budget. It leaves $83,934 left in the budget, remaining in the budget for 2022. The second PR is for construction services of the Lake Catherine Force Main Redirect Project. Currently, Lake Catherine Pump Station discharges to Meadowview Drive to an 8-inch gravity sewer that's undersized for that particular force main. This particular project was budgeted at $1.25 million. Bids were opened on September 22nd, and the low bid was from Hopper Construction of $1,476,000. Does not include the pump station upgrade of $180,000. So the total PR amount I'm asking for is $1,665,000.
Bruce, do you want to talk just a little bit about what that force main does for us? In terms
Sure.
of,
So Lake Catherine Force Main, located right down near Robin Hood Park, discharges to Meadowview Drive. Our London Court pump station located on London Court also discharges onto Meadowview Drive. Two 6-inch force mains discharging into an 8-inch gravity line. The 8-inch gravity line is severely undersized, and the issues that it causes with odors on Meadowview is unsolvable until we remove some of the flow from that area. So this particular project will take Lake Catherine's force main. We'll install an 8-inch force main down Sneed, all the way down Lakeview, right to Westchester, where it will be then flow by gravity to the wastewater treatment plant on Chestnut Hill. So it will eliminate an awful lot of the flow at our main pump station behind St. George Dam, which has been a problematic pump station as far as high flows during wet weather events. It will eliminate the electricity required to pump the flow twice, and it will increase the life of the St. George, or our main pump station, in the form of capacity. So it should free up about 200 to 250,000 gallons per day at our main pump station.
Okay. And this is consistent with our 10-year sewer plan?
Yes, McGill Engineering out of Knoxville completed a 10-year master plan, and this was the highest priority listed in the 10-year master plan. Yes, Nico?
On that master plan, can you tell us what they projected the cost would be? Do you think that will, if it's increased, is it going to get worse for future projects on that?
It most likely will. They projected $1.25 million. Construction costs are a moving target right now. They're going up on a daily basis. Just to get pipe, right now pipe is not being manufactured. And so we're like the sewer extensions we're doing on Beechwood, Eagle Court, Golden Court, and Easton Lane, we're having to buy pipe. We're having to look all over the country to find pipe. They're not making pipe, except once every 6 months. And so in this particular case, it's just under 6,000 feet from the Catherine Pump Station to Westchester, and I'm quite sure that the contractor, Hopper Construction, is going to struggle to find pipe. The demand for pipe is driving the cost of construction and material up, and so I can't say for sure where it's going to end or how it's going to end or if it's going to come back down, but right now it does not look like construction costs are going to return to where they were pre-pandemic.
Okay, if we take the 1.2 million to 1.6,
Yep.
that's about a 30%.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's what was interesting.
Yeah, the next lowest bidder was Cleary Construction at $2.615 million. So Hopper left $1.2 million on the table. If we were to rebid it, it's unlikely we're going to get a bid even close to 1.665. So.
And this is going to come out of the 4.5 million?
This is going to come out of our sewer service fund. No long-term debt. Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday at the workshop, there was a lady who was talking about odors.
Yes.
Is this going to help the situation?
This should significantly reduce the odors along Meadowview. Meadowview has been a source of odors for a long time, and it's basically because we're putting too much water in an 8-inch gravity pipe, and the air has no place to go. It's going back down the laterals to the houses, up through the vents, and then settling around the yards. And there's nothing that can be done until we remove some of the flow from that 8-inch gravity pipe.
Sandbag
So clean water, I&I, inflow and infiltration, we have a crew out there investigating leaks in the sewer system. Our flow during dry weather events, during dry weather periods right now averages about 750,000 gallons per day at the treatment plant. During a wet weather event of an inch and a half, 2 inches, we'll see the flow at the treatment plant go up to 2.5 million gallons rather quickly. And so it puts an awful lot of pressure on all of the pump stations. The collection system can't handle much more, and so we're out there trying to eliminate the clean water from getting into the system. And that's in the form of sump pumps, roof leaders, condensate drains, cracks in the pipes, leaks in the manholes. We're making those repairs on a daily basis. It's just a slow process, and it's a contiguous program. It's never going to end.
So in other words, Bruce, somebody could illegally have a sump pump hooked up?
Yeah, the key, it's illegal in Fairfield Glade. We have a policy that says none of that can exist. It's not illegal as far as the Department of Public Utilities. But Fairfield Glade has a policy that says those types of connections are not legal. And so we have the ability to surcharge people that have connections like that identified and refuse to remove them. So.
All right, I have the sewer extension PR is on the table. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Before I make the motion, I do want to remind everyone that in accordance with the process that we started last year, we do send out letters to the property owners letting them know, first of all, when we're considering a sewer extension, then again when we vote to get the engineering study done, and then finally when we actually take action to actually put it in. So the third letter will be going to all property owners, and we do that so that they know what's coming, they understand what the cost will be, they can take a look at the market and see if they want to sell their lot or whatever it is they want to do, so that that can all take place before the final decision's made, and they'll get that letter here in the near future to let them know that we have in fact taken action, and that assuming the PR is approved, that the extension is going to go in. So with that, I make a motion to approve the PR for the sewer extensions for Beechwood Drive, Golden Court, Easton Circle, and Eastern Court.
Okay, do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay. Okay, the motion carries then for the sewer extension for $45,000. The next motion would be for the Lake Catherine Force Main construction in the amount of $1,665,000. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes in the amount of $1.665 for the Lake Catherine Force Main construction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. We also have on the table this morning the consideration of the strategic planning engagement. That notice was sent out in a magnified a week or so ago, and we talked about it yesterday at the workshop, and then again in the across the board this morning. So do I have a motion to approve that strategic planning engagement?
I'll make a motion that we approve the PR in the amount of $118,000 for Private Club Associates to deliver a long-term strategic plan for the Fairfield Glade community.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion has passed for the strategic planning engagement in the amount of $118,000. The next item on the agenda is the upgrade, or the update from Fairfield Glade Resident Services, and Mr. Birdsall is here to provide that.
Well, as always, thank you very much for allowing us this opportunity to make our monthly report. Last month, you may recall, I reviewed with you our Way to Go program. And this month, I'd like to bring you up to date and take a few moments to remind you about our Welcome Home program. The Welcome Home program is intended to welcome new residents to the Fairfield Glade community. We prepare a gift bag full of information about the community, as well as many surprise discounts offered by local businesses. Then we contact each new resident to make arrangements to deliver the bag. Whenever possible, we make a personal visit to the new residents to welcome them and to deliver their gift bag. In the process, we try to offer a personal welcome to the newcomers, make them aware of our mission and our activities, and answer any questions they may have about living in Fairfield Glade. This meeting also gives us an opportunity to make newcomers aware of all what we do to assist them and their neighbors should a need arise. Last month, our Welcome Home volunteers contacted almost 50 newcomer homes and personally visited the homes of at least 25 homeowners. More than a dozen volunteers get together to prepare the gift bags for delivery and to contact the newcomers and ultimately to make the home visits, all under the direction of our program coordinator, Joyce Verellen. Now, one of our ongoing missions is to identify needs in the community that perhaps are not presently being addressed. If you know, or even think you know, of a need that we might address, please contact us. Please contact our office at 456-7272, or stop in at our office, which is in the strip mall behind the Dollar Tree store, and let us know what your concerns are so that we can take those into consideration. And of course, we are always anxious to hear from you or from anyone else willing to volunteer to help operate one of our programs. So at the same time you're in at the office, sign up to be a volunteer. As always, thank you much.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, at this time, we will entertain comments from the floor. So if anyone would like to make comments, you're welcome to come up to the podium and give your name and address.
Good morning. To the members of the Board of Directors, the residents of Fairfield Glade, Mayor Foster, Chief Malone. As the wife of a Fairfield Glade firefighter, I come to you today to discuss the information that has come out about the Board of Directors meeting from August of this year and wanting to have Cumberland County Fire respond to the fire and emergency needs here in Fairfield Glade. Let me start by saying that not allowing the chief to tell his own department for 2 months is wrong on so many levels. I think it was extremely disrespectful, and you should be ashamed of that. If you want to work together, then you need to let the lines of communication always stay open. Also, the information that was in the Glade Sun yesterday was not true, and some was even taken out of context. That article makes it seem like the chief started the rumor of shutting down our department. That is not true. At the Fairfield Glade Fire Board of Directors meeting last week, John Wedworth stated that he did not know where that rumor came from, and Chief Malone stated that he could not tell us where it came from. Or I'm sorry, he did tell us where it came from, and he did. He was able to explain that it came from a meeting with 3 members of the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board, the chief and 5 members of the Fairfield Glade Fire Department Board of Directors, with Rebecca Beeler conveniently left out of her article in the Glade Sun. The Board of Directors stated that it would be happy with the county responding to emergency calls. It was also the reporter from the Glade Sun who has also twisted the words and made the chief and the department look like liars and fools. What started as a discussion about fire hydrants has now turned to talks about having our fire department go away and having the county respond to all emergency calls. Let me tell you a few things. We live in one of the largest counties in Tennessee, and the response time for the county to arrive in Fairfield Glade can be anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. County firefighters are not allowed to run with lights and sirens, so getting here in a hurry may be difficult. So if your home catches on fire, I would not plan on it being saved by any means. Yes, we do have 5 members of the Fairfield Glade Fire Department that are members of the county. That does not mean that the equipment and other manpower would be here in time. I would just hope the county could get here in time to save your neighbor's home, because depending on how close those homes are together or how hot your fire is, there will be damage to your neighbor's home. Your homeowner's insurance without a volunteer or fire department being in the community would double. I bet none of you thought of that. Our firefighters are on call 24/7, just like anywhere else. They respond to everything from smoke detectors beeping because the batteries are low, to carbon monoxide detectors going off, to actual fires. They change these batteries in the middle of the night, to putting new detectors for people that have old ones and worn out ones in their home. They make sure that when these medical helicopters come in, they are safely on the ground and that those patients are transferred safely to that helicopter. They do this without any complaints, and they do not charge anyone for these services. These men and women are more than just pancake, sausage, and coffee makers 3 times a year. They are your neighbors, friends, golf partners, and pickleball teammates. When that fire pager goes off in the middle of the night or any time, us spouses are right there with them. We tell them to be careful and safe. Some of us even stay up until they come home, and we know that everyone has returned home safely. These are men and women who put their lives on the line every time there is a call. They do it for the community. They do not do it for the free golf that they're given or anything else. What are you thinking by saying that you would be willing to purchase a new truck for the county and doing away with our current department? If you think that buying a new truck for the county is going to give you any sort of control over the county department, I think you're sadly mistaken. What would be so bad in giving a donation of $700,000 to purchase a new truck as a gift to the department when there's a surplus of over $5 million? I think that Chief Malone has done nothing wrong for you to treat him and the department like you have. If you have grievances with previous chiefs, then you need to stop holding that grudge. Those chiefs are no longer with the department. Nobody cares what those other chiefs did. This is a new era for the Fairfield Glade Fire Department. It is time to grow up and play nice in the sandbox. It is time to stop acting like the rich, spoiled children that you think you are. It is time to look at one another and think about the mistake that you would be making by having our current fire department go away. Think about the unrest that could be caused by doing this. Think about the amount of people that would want to leave our little community. Do you not think the reputation of the board of directors is not bad enough? Why do you think the people disrespect the board? It seems that you do not care about anything except yourselves, and that you do not even listen to the community. It is time to fix the reputation of this board. If you don't know what it is, then I suggest that you start listening to the people of Fairfield Glade. Change can start with you. Do not disassemble our fire department.
Okay, and your name, ma'am?
My name is Holly. Last name is Licht, L-I-C-H-T.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Nancy Springer, and I've been volunteering my time the past couple of years attempting to write grants for the fire department. And I was wondering, just by a show of hand from the board, how many of you all know that we've been trying to fundraise for a fire truck?
We all know that.
How many of you all think we need a fire truck? interesting. So I just wanted to put on the record that we have been fundraising for probably about 5 years, averaging about $30,000 a year in getting grants towards the fire department. And one of the things that is frustrating is that grant opportunities out there for fire trucks is almost zilch. The one main entity that does fund fire trucks is the AFG, and it is through the FEMA grant. And right now, FEMA, I participated in a podcast this past week, and they will be announcing funding the end of January, beginning of February. And last year, they had about $52 million for fire departments. Of that $52 million, only 1/4 is awarded for fire vehicles. Of that 1/4, only 1/4 goes toward volunteer fire departments. The average grant was about $315,000. We are trying a lot of creative ways to raise funds, but I deplore the board to look at what our operations are, what our engines are, and the need that we have from you all to fund fire trucks, to have our equipment up to date. It behooves our community to be safe, and I think we're doing our effort. We'd like to see you all participate more in funding the fire department. Thank you.
Okay, do we have other comments?
My name is Diana Brown, 10 Fontes Terrace. We need to know that should a fire break out, and you've seen Gatlinburg on fire, which is likely with so many trees, that we have a fire department that is equipped to handle the situation. We support the police department, but isn't putting a house fire out as important as catching a speeder? Most of us have worked our whole lives to have a nice home here, a safe home. That home could be destroyed by a fire. I don't care if the fire department is nonprofit or not, or this or that. I don't understand all that. Our volunteers give their time, their expertise. They've come here to retire, and here they are helping us. They may have to give their lives to help us. Don't they deserve to have the best equipment possible without having to beg for funds to buy them? We are more concerned about golf and pickleball and tennis and another restaurant than we are the well-being of our residents. Read number 5 over there. Find the money to buy a new truck. We have millions in revenue. Why can't we buy a state-of-the-art truck? Let's get our number 1 priority straight, the residents' safety. I wonder how much growth we'd have if newcomers were informed that we are not equipped to put out a fire in their new home. I'm really disgusted with this board. I am.
Okay, do we have other comments? Tom?
So after those comments, it's hard to follow, but as I watched yesterday's meeting, during the members' comment section, it really caused me to think about the meeting that took place, the fire meeting, the previous week. And as I understand it, wasn't there, but John, I understand you were there. I understand you spent a lot of time really defending the board because many of the members were saying the board doesn't listen. So again, going back to yesterday's meeting, the lady came up with the odor problem. And I watched the members of the board during her talk, and it appeared to me you were all listening. But then I'd go back to the fact that she also came the month before and addressed the board about that problem. Now, first, let me tell you, there's no doubt in my mind that Bruce has tried to solve this problem. None. The man is one of the better members in this community in terms of what he says he'll do, and he does everything to move mountains to do it, in my opinion. I think the problem is really with the board, and that is how issues that members bring up to the board, how they're handled. The board listens, but that's it. They just listen. There's no comments made, no suggestions made. When the lady came to the front of the board the month before, I asked you, did anyone take and say to Bob Weber, did they follow up after the meeting? Was there actually a plan, sitting down with Bruce, as to how it was going to be addressed? Did Bob ever come back to the board and say, hey, we did this, this, and this. This was our follow-up. Today, I heard for the first time, based on the question, that the sewer project we're going to do is going to help that. That could have even maybe helped give that lady some comfort yesterday. So, in my opinion, we need a culture that says, how can we help? And then acts accordingly. And Ken, that starts with you as president of the board. When you conduct the meetings and items come up, they should go on, if they're not resolved or there's something that has to be resolved, they should go on an agenda item of old business. And even if it's something to come back and say, we followed up with the comments of that member, here's what we did, or here's what we're doing, at least the members would feel like their actions are being taken and not confusing it with the board doesn't listen. I believe you listen. I don't believe you do anything about it necessarily. Thank you.
All right, Tom, let's clear the air for you once again, because you seem to like to lecture on what's going on, okay? And quite often you're not informed on what is in fact happening. Now you had your chance, and I'm responding to you, Tom. Let me. Okay, Tom, so that everyone hears, okay? Bruce has had multiple conversations with the lady concerning the odor, okay? He has explained to her multiple times different alternatives that could be used and whether or not they're even possible to be used, okay? So that lady, even though she has come to multiple board meetings, has had numerous conversations with Bruce, who you have said, your words, he's one of the most dependable folks that we have in terms of delivering services, okay? That is being addressed with her, okay? And he mentioned that even yesterday with her when he said, I have talked to you on multiple occasions, okay? So this idea that nothing happens, okay? Obviously, we didn't send you a letter and say, by the way, here's what we're doing, and Bruce didn't talk to you about it, but it is being addressed, okay? So making the insinuation that nothing happens unless it happens in public is an erroneous thing to say, okay? And you continue to come and make those comments, which is fine, okay? That's what we have to put up with. But you're not that well informed on what's going on. So, telling people that nothing has ever happened with her is actually a false statement, okay? So thank you for pointing that out, but it's wrong, okay? Neil, you have something you'd like to share?
Yeah, good morning. My name's Neil Donovan. I live in 22 Conrad Circle, first hole on Dorchester Golf Course. So if any of you want your balls back, come on, stop by. I pick up a half a dozen a day in my backyard. But the reason I came today is because, as you all agree, we had a beautiful fall with gorgeous trees and everything this year. Unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of dead leaves are laying in my backyard right now. I'd like to get an update on what the board is doing, if anything, to replace the leaf dump.
Okay, we discussed that yesterday. We have the leaf collection program is out there and is going to run through the end of, it's the middle, middle of December, right? We extended that collection program.
Okay.
And then we are currently having conversations and have filed applications for 2 different sites
Okay.
for a future leaf dump. That has to go through the approval process, okay? And there is a third party that is interested in perhaps creating a leaf dump for us as well, okay?
Okay.
So we are planning
just
to
wanted to get an
use,
update, because
we
the
are,
first-
we are using the collection program to get us through this season, and then we will know something more after the first of the year in terms of where we go with a future or replacement leaf dump. But
Okay.
the replacement is going to be really a compost site. And so at this point, we don't know if it will be capable of taking like tree limbs and all that stuff, okay? And that has been communicated, I believe, in an update, Sam. We did a not across the board, we did was it either a magnified or an e-blast that laid out what was going to happen, Neil.
Okay, because I'm just, last year I was doing 3 runs a week to the leaf dump. So I got a little pickup truck, I fill it up with leaves and take it up there. Now if I want to take them downtown, they're telling me $20 a load. And I can't afford $60 a week.
Yeah, but you have to take them downtown.
Like, I can't, you know where I live? You can't bag the leaves in my yard. Take it till next fall to bag all the leaves in my yard. I got to get some other way to get them out of there besides putting them in bags and putting them out on the road. So I either load them in the truck and dump them, or I cut down all my trees and burn them. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I need some place to get rid of them. And if you say next year should be a good year, I can wait. But I mean, it's getting really frustrating. I went out and bought this little pickup truck just to haul leaves, and now I can't haul leaves. So, anyway, I just want to get an update.
Well, the one thing you can't do is that you can't burn them. And we don't allow that at all in the Glade. Okay, do we have other comments?
Hello, I'm Ron Varsack, and we have lived at 136 Lakewood Drive for about 9 years. And I just want to start by saying there really were a number of reasons that we moved here. One of the reasons that we moved here was because of the combination of the way you do fees, and that is that there's a combination of member dues and user fees. And so we looked at a lot of different places, and that made the most sense to us. But the biggest reason that we moved here was because of that we chose to move to Fairfield Glade was because of the myriad of clubs, activities, and amenities that are available here. And yet, we find that although we just had a report that our financial position is excellent, and yet clubs in Fairfield Glade have either curtailed or ceased operation due to the increased fees that have been charged, and I understand have been increased again for the use of this facility, of the center. The other problem is that there really, in the Fairfield Glade area, are no venue alternatives. Certainly, I believe that an organization that wants to use the center should pay appropriately for cleanup fees, setup fees, et cetera. But I think that and I know the board this has been discussed with the board before, but I think the board should again address the issue that Fairfield Glade clubs and organizations, especially the ones that are 501c nonprofits, should have reduced fees for rental of this facility. In addition to that, Fairfield Glade-based organizations should have reduced fees for the rental of this facility. After all, the members paid for building this facility. They also pay for their dues for the maintenance of this facility. In a town hall that I attended, a similar question was asked, and one of the board members glibly said, "Where would we draw the line?" And I will tell you that if the board has trouble deciding which organization should get reduced fees, I would be happy to assist you, and we could come up with a list of organizations that probably should have reduced fees for renting this facility. It is difficult to understand that, as we found out today, we're going to spend $118,000 for a strategic plan, but yet we have to cause organizations to either curtail or, like sociables, close their operations because they couldn't afford, with their budget, to rent this facility. So I encourage the board to look at this, particularly the way that the fees are structured. I can do a little comparison with golf. I don't play golf, but if you think about golf, you pay a small fee to have use of a cart and an entire golf course for 4 to 6 hours. There is no separate fee for the daily cutting of the greens or cutting the lawns or maintaining the lawns or the fertilizer, which I know have gone up in cost, watering the lawns. You don't pay separate for that. You also have no fee for a cart attendant or mechanic or a starter or a scheduler. There is no separate fee for the bartender at the restaurant. There's no separate fee for the staff at the restaurant or the attendant. And yet, hundreds of dollars, I'm sure you're aware of this, are charged for comparable staff for any event that's held here. Okay? So if you rent this facility, you pay hundreds of dollars to have staff that a golfer pays nothing for. Okay? I think that the board needs to address these fees, and again, I'd be happy to come up with organizations that probably should be getting reduced fees for rental of this facility.
Okay, thank you.
What's it cost to rent this facility?
I understand it just went up again, but it depends a little bit on the size of what you're going to do and how many tables they have to set up. But the fee, I believe, varies between about $1,200 and $2,000 to rent this facility. And I'm sorry Mr. Weber isn't here, but hopefully he's going to watch the streaming or the recording. Thank you.
Okay, do we have other comments? And we have some comments from the board.
Yes.
John?
I have a comment. The ACC Policy Subcommittee has reviewed 2 of our current property standards policies. They have reviewed the solar panel policy, and they've reviewed the property standards policy and made recommendations to those. And the board reviewed those yesterday, and we'll be sending them out to the community for 30 days review. So look for those, and if you have any questions about the changes in the policies, just let us know.
Okay, let me just make a closing comment or two about the fire department. First of all, the meeting that we had back in August, when we began that meeting, and this is in the article, by the way, in the Glade Sun. When we began that meeting, all of the participants in that meeting agreed that the comments that were being made in that meeting would stay within that room, okay? And so that is a commitment that most of the folks that were in that meeting have honored, okay? The second thing is that there was absolutely no decision made during that meeting, and nor has any decision been made since that meeting, okay? And when we left that meeting in August, we agreed that we would have additional meetings to continue our discussions, okay? And those topics that we talked about during that meeting included the culture of the fire department, alternative financial support options, staffing and training concerns, both present and future, the apparatus decisions, so truck purchase decisions, and then also future facility needs for the department. So no decisions were made, and I believe those of you that were in the meeting last Monday heard, I believe it was the chairman of the fire department board, and he is quoted in the Glade Sun article as well, that says that the board of directors for the community club does not decide whether or not the fire department exists or not. That is a decision for the fire department board to make, okay? Our concern as the board for the community club is that we have an obligation under number 1 up there as our core value to provide a safe and secure environment for our members, our guests, and our visitors, okay? And it is our obligation to make sure that we are exploring all of the options to deliver that service to our community, okay? So we will continue to reevaluate the services, the emergency services that we have for the community. We have gone through the review of EMS and through the mayor's help, and with legitimate data, we're able to determine that we needed that second ambulance up here, which is now up here and providing service. And you saw the response in the article yesterday from the director of the EMS regarding response times, okay? We have just recently gone through a significant review of the police department in terms of staffing and what they need in order to move forward with our police department. And you will see that we are taking steps to improve that service and making sure that they are funded appropriately. And we will also entertain what it is that is the best way to deliver future services for the community, okay? Now, if the fire department board decides to dissolve, that's their decision to make. That is not our decision to make, okay? And so I would encourage you to try to look at that from an objective position and not try to say that because we have had a fire department for the last 50 years, that the current configuration of that department is the configuration that we need going forward, okay? So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.
It sailed right over my head.